Welcome to Mishnah study Masechet Eruvin Perek He Mishnah Aleph. Over here in this Mishnah, in this Perek, we're going to speak about how to extend the boundary of a city, right? So before we measure the 2,000 amot, we need to determine where the city ends. Where are we measuring from, right? Do we take it from, the last house of the city? What if there is a house that extends a little further? Do we take it from our house, from their house, right? So that's going to be the discussion about our Mishnah. Ketzad me'aberin et he'arim. How do we extend the city? So the language me'aberim is shown from the language of an ubar, right? An ubar is a fetus, right? So a woman who's pregnant, right? She's extended a little further. So here is how do we extend the city? How do we see where the city's limits are? So firstly, bayit nichnas ubayit yotze, right? If there's a house coming out, coming in or out, right? Coming or pagum nichnas, pagum yotze, right? Pagum is a broken right, a broken buildings, right? Something that's a little more desolate, right? So you can see over here in this picture, you see the top left corner, there's a little house that protrudes. Okay, so you take a line, right, from that house. You see this little thin yellow line going down, and that's where we're going to measure from. We're not going to measure from the all that whole row of houses. Rather, we're going to measure from that one house that's sticking out. Then we're going to draw a line going across, and we'll measure 2,000 amah from there. Hayusham gedudiyot. Right? Let's say you had, gedudiyot are these, broken buildings that only had 3 walls, right? 10 tvachim high, we could count them. Uksharim, if you have gesher is a bridge. Unfashot, right? Nefashot. Over here, Rambam says it's these, these something like little small, things over the ground. And the Mishna Torah explains it as graves. Right? Sheyesh bahem betira, right? Over here, it needs to have, it's important in a condition that there is a betira, there is a place to live over there, right? Over here, it seems like the way Hanabam explains it, that it's going back on the nefashot, right? Back on the graves, which is interesting pirush, right? Because it's actually different than the Tosafot. You can see over there, Tosafot explains it's going back on the beginning of the Mishnah. Motzi'in et hamidah kenegdan, right? Right, Tosafot says it's going back on the bridges themselves. Right, Rambam says it's going back on the nefashot, going back on the graves. Right, I have to have betira. So what do? You pull the measurement from there. Also, you make it a squared off city, so we can benefit from the corners. What does this mean? So if you see over here also, imagine if you had a circled city, or if you had, things protruding out. So what do? You take a square, you go around the city, and then you measure from that square itself, right? So you see if this yellow line going across, that will help us, and then you measure the 2,000 amot from there, right? And that really helps you benefit and gain those corners, right? You gain the corners, from the city, plus you gain the corners, like we mentioned earlier, right? When you measure out the 2,000 amah, you also get the corner of that angle, of that hypotenuse, when you're measuring out the city.